All right, here I am. I've got my drawing. Remember, just draw it first. Draw your design. Then I bent the wire to fit this shape here, and look at what it's doing. It's not straight. It's not straight just because it has a memory of being in a big spool, so you've got to flatten it. So wherever it's too low, push up, and wherever it's too high, push down. A little bit of this, and it'll be pretty flat. I've just taped this. I did not do the hook connection here. I just taped it. So now that we have this, profile here, I'm going to move this out of the way. We have this great profile here. We need the second profile. I've drawn it here with the broken lines. It's that second profile. And I wanted to create this video because I've had a lot of students in the past who have a hard time getting from here to this. This is the next profile. So we need a piece of wire. You remember the bird? It's going to attach here. My wire is going to define the hips, the shoulders and the hips and the neck. This defines the back and the belly. We need to define the shoulders and the hips, the width out here. So we need to grab a piece of wire. That's long enough. So you see, I just stretch the wire out. It doesn't need to be perfectly straight. I try to stretch out enough so that I could fit that weasel inside. Here we go. It's always better to just have more than you need. And then I need to locate the center of this wire. So I can straighten it out a little bit like this. I need to locate the center. So I just hold on to some down here. Try to get in the middle. I've got a little over here and a little over here. And then I just pull on it. Can I fit it in here? And then I'm still holding on to the center. I fold the sides over. It looks like a bird. It looks like an old seagull. This is a pretty big one. So what I did, I just made a twist in the center. And that becomes this little connection right here. Wire on both sides. I attach it at the nose right here. So I take the wing and I slide it inside the body so that the nose goes inside of the head of the bird. The head hanging from the bird. Whoops. And then we have to squeeze both sides of the bird's head. And you see I'm holding on to the wing out here. So I give it a squeeze. See how small it got? I get it where I want it to go, which is right here. And then I have to just sort of hold on to everything. Squeeze the top and the bottom like this. And once we do that, we now have wire that's going to come on the right-hand side and the left-hand side. Tape it, because even though it's nice and tight right now, and we can make it tighter by coming back here, back under the connection right here and giving another squeeze. Up on the top, give another squeeze. But as we fiddle with it, it loosens up anyway. So here we go. And now I've got to shape the muzzle. So how wide is the weasel's muzzle? I figure this out by looking at an image, and then I look at this wire in the front and I look down from the top. So I need to give it a little bend like this. There's the muzzle on that side. I'm going to flip it over. I'm right-handed, so I'm just going to flip it over and try to match it on this side. So I look down on it. You can use your finger. Remember we talked about this to measure. How long is it on that side? It should be the same length on this side. just want this to be a little rounder, like the other side. You see how it's matching? I've got the whole muzzle. I'm gonna tape one of these wires out of the way, and I'm just gonna, remember I said just tape it in the back, tape one side out of the way. So then you only have one wire acting crazy right now. And then I've got to take this wire. I'm going to bend it so that it's in the middle. The line is in the middle here, but it's out here to define the width of the cheek right here. Defining the width of the cheek. So you're always looking down and then you're looking forward at the front of it. And then I'm going to bend it a little like this because I want to keep it in line with the neck. Just like this. And then I'm following the curves. I'm just following the curves, but it's out here. All the way to the bottom. I've got more wire than I need as usual. That looks pretty good. So now at the bottom, I still need to keep it spaced out here. It's not going to touch this inner wire at an angle. I don't have a pointy bottom on this piece. It's out here. I just need to bend the wire just like I bent it here to come inside. There we go. I'm going to hold this where I think it's supposed to be. About here is where I need to bend it in. And then I'm just going to tape it in place for now. And I'll show you. So here you go. And then you do the same thing on the other side. So we take off the tape. And whatever we did, it's a little wacky. Look, it does move. It'll stop moving later. Let me tape this a little better down here. That could help. Better tape job. But it just wiggles. It's going to wiggle until you add a ring. So now I'm back here. I'm trying to match whatever I did with the head. Just the wire, you could try to straighten it a little bit if it's getting in your way. I'm just looking over here, and then I'm looking this direction. I think I've got a bit more wire than I need, so I'll chop some of it off right now. And then these two should be the same. Then I'll come down the neck, just like I did on this side. And I'm looking at this back wire, but I'm also trying to stay in here. Just stay in the middle. So I'm just holding it, trying to space it. This will be less wiggly and easier to work with as soon as I put a ring around something. Around here, you know, I like to start towards the neck, putting a ring on the form. I think this is about it. Could be a little flatter. I just feel like this has been the hardest part for a lot of students. Like, what do I do next? Okay, I drew the profile and I bent the profile. Now what? Well, you need to bend the other profile. That's what this is. And yeah, the wire wiggles. Yes, it's funky. Just trying to match everything. top view. So everything lines up. It won't be wiggly soon. Soon I'll be showing it who's boss. And it will have to do what I say. Okay. So hold this in place. And then over here, about here. That looks good. Cut off this extra here, tape it. I'll let you look at it. So I added something to define the neck here. This will go in the center. The neck, the shoulders, the hips. And then we've got to add a circle to get this thing under control. I like to put one up here first, but I'm going to put one lower because it's easier for you to see. So you need to make sure you have enough wire and then some, because it takes some wire to wrap around each piece of wire. It takes about 1/8 of an inch of wire. There we go. I made a bird. Bird's going to go on the back here, and the bird is always on the outside. When the bird's on the outside, the connection is on the inside. If your bird looks like this, something's wrong. You don't want it to be inside your form. It's got to be out here. Clamp it across, top and bottom. Hold on to that piece. It will obey better in a sec. So now I've got to connect. And once I do this, everything's going to be good. I need to shape the back. The wire's not, the back of the Weasel isn't totally flat. I can shape both of them to match. I can tape it in place if it's wiggling around. I'd like you to be right here, please. So you tape on either side, and then it can't slide around, and you take the tape off later. Remember this trick? And now we can even straighten this ring a little bit. Now it's important. Now we're going to connect. So I'm looking at the wire, and I want this piece, I'm going to stretch it out so that there's a space here for the hips, and so that this wire is in between. It's halfway in between. Then we can mark with a Sharpie right where that connection needs to go. That's where it needs to go. When these two meet. Now I can let go of it. I can even bend it here. Remember, you need to back up about 1/8 of an inch from that spot, because this spot needs to stay on top of the connection. If I put my pliers right on that, then my connection will start wrapping under, and the line here will be shorter than I planned. Right now, I was very specific. This is the length. And I want to make sure that, that as I bend this through, I can even thread it through a little bit. As I bend this, I don't lose any of this length. So I give it some space, push on it with your thumb. I have to stop and thread it the rest of the way through. Like this. It's going all the way through. Here we go. You see what it's doing? And now it's coming through again. I'll go back. So now, since I have my Sharpie marker here, I don't have to hold it, look at it. Where did I want to connect that? I can already see it. There we go. I just line up my two Sharpie marks like that. I always find having the connection under my finger gives me a lot more control. Like this. It slid a little bit. There we go. Squeeze it. Just use the pliers to squeeze that wire. The bottom will connect with a pigtail. I can see I don't need that much wire. You see how it's already holding its shape now. Now this can't move. All I need to do is do the same thing over here. The same curve here, here to here, the same. Connect in the same spot. I'm even gonna flatten this a little more. See how the connection is inside. That's the head of that bird. I want that just a little flatter up there. There we go. So you can use your finger. We can even take this tape off now to make it easier to see. You can use your finger. It's that long. That's where I want to connect. Just a little shorter than, yeah, it's about there. Okay. I can mark with a Sharpie. About right here. Pliers further back, just like that. Push against your thumb. You've got to stop and thread this wire through so that it's going to come through, and you can go right back to your connection there, your bend. Get all that Sharpie in the same spot. Give it a squeeze. Give it a good pinch, and then pinch it this way. Don't pull it. You're just bending, you're just pinching the wire so it wraps around. I'm gonna stop this video now because you've got other pigtail videos, but I wanted you to at least see, I mean, look at that now. And once I add these pigtails down here, you see I'll have a nice ring. Since this line is halfway in between, the length from here to here is probably the same as the length from here to here. It should all be the same. You don't want one of these sides to be longer than the other. If not, your whole piece will start to get distorted. So when I'm connecting the first pigtail, I'm looking at trying to line up the belly and the back. The central lines, I want them to be in the same spot. That's too close. That's too far away. Just right in the middle. And then mark it and pigtail. I hope this helps.